Hi guys, welcome back to Earth to Rosita, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is a channel that is mainly about veganism, spirituality, vlogs, occasionally travel vlogs as well, and sometimes just random stuff. So if you're into that kind of content, please hit the subscribe button. But anyways, so I wasn't sure that I was going to make a video about this, but I thought, what the hell? I mean, like, I'm a woman, so I think that I have some ground to talk about this since I can get pregnant, right? So, ow. Okay. So, first of all, I wanted to talk about what, like, a lot of people think that, a lot of people don't seem to, like, really understand what Roe versus Wade being overturned actually means. A lot of people are freaking out and saying that this is going to be a nationwide blanket ban on abortion, to which I say it's just not the case. So I read I looked up an article on CNBC. It wrote, the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision on Friday, overturned Roe v. Wade, the landmark ruling that established the constitutional right to abortion in the U.S. in 1973. The court's controversial but expected ruling gives individual states the power to set their own abortion laws without concern of running afoul of Roe, which had permitted abortion during the first 2 trimesters of pregnancy. So that's all that really, like, Roe versus Wade being overturned means. It means that it's it's no longer federalized, and they've handed that power back over to the states. So like the article said, I'll link this article below. It said that there's going to be, like, at least half of the country is going to have a ban on abortion. And I think that it's a good thing for a number of reasons. And this is going to be controversial because I was against, the medical mandates, and I still am against the medical mandates for, a certain big pharma product. So I understand that I'm probably gonna get backlash for this, because it just seems hypocritical. But where I think that it differs is that, like, it's that abortion rights are different in the sense that the woman who has gotten pregnant is no longer, just an individual, is no longer just one individual human being. She's carrying a life inside of her, and it's a beautiful thing. And I wrote about this on my Instagram. And it's another interesting thing is that this decision came to be just like at the beginning of Cancer season. June 24, 2022, Sun in Cancer, rising Leo, Moon in Taurus. Very interesting. So it's interesting because Sun is like the ultimate mother, and Moon is conservatism. It's tradition. Moon in Taurus is tradition. It's earthly values. It is like most earth signs are the epitome of conservative traditional values, being close to the family. But okay, so this is what I wrote, and I'll post the image here just so you guys can get a few glimpses of what is going through my head right now and why I think this is a good thing for a number of reasons. Today, Roe v. Wade was overturned, and the abortion rights will be left up to the states to decide, which we just discussed. At least half of the country and some of the world is outraged by this, because I saw my friends reacting to this and stuff, and they were outraged. They didn't like it. And these friends are like from Philippines, from Asia and stuff. So it was kind of weird to see, because Philippines is supposed to be like really... Okay, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. To which I say... Wait, hold on. Outraged by this and believe we're going back in time. To which I say maybe it's a good thing. It just depends on how you look at it, I suppose. To me, the biggest elephant in the room is when a woman becomes pregnant, she's no longer just a singular individual. She is carrying a life inside of her. That life eventually becomes human and will not just be a clump of cells or a fetus or whatever else pro-choicers say. It's a life that is growing inside of another life, and that is sacred. It's not a mythical fantasy. It's the deepest spiritual connection two souls can have, one of which will eventually become sentient. Wait, hold on. I read that wrong. It's the deepest spiritual connection two souls, one of which will eventually become sentient, have with each other. The US, and evidently the world, has forgotten this and what sex and carrying a child means, because they have been having it drilled into their heads for 50 years. The bond of a mother and child needs to come back. The bond of family needs to come back. There are gray areas, and we can discuss those things with a calm head, and I believe people can eventually come to a compromise on this and live with each other without having to burn this precinct to the ground, as some protesters chanted today. It is not a bad thing or a loss or a form of oppression to bring back the sacredness of carrying life and also the sacredness of sex, which I'll talk about in this video. For that matter, hopefully will open the eyes of everybody to extend this logic and level of compassion out to animals. The bigger picture is always more important to focus on. The pro-life movement winning on a spiritual level has opened up a vortex to abundance and divinity. It is not a bad thing just because the whole of big tech and media is saying so. There are deeper truths than that. I lean more toward pro-life for a number of reasons, but I recognize there are gray areas and that a blanket law banning abortion for something like pregnancy just shouldn't be a thing. Every woman's or girl's case is different, and we need to be more balanced in our thinking. So that was my thoughts, and I don't even know how to add more to that, because that was pretty spot on. I could probably just end the video now, but I'm not going to, because this is a big topic, and I think that it deserves more than just, less than 10 minutes of a discussion. Self-discussion, self-vlog. So, the sacredness of motherhood. It's kind of, if you look at our culture now, and from 50 years ago, the sacredness of it has been gone. And I've spoken about this in other videos when I was talking about the pro-life movement and such. I think that the sacredness of that is not only because of the culture of America and the world being so hustle bustle, a work culture, women's work culture and stuff. It's because the sacredness of sex has also been under attack. I've been reading headlines about hookup culture coming to an end, and some people might think that that's a bad thing, but I think it's a great thing. As somebody I've had a wild sexual past, and I've never had a boyfriend, so I've never had a solid relationship. And that, I think it's because of the absence of my father when I think about it, because he died when I was 18, and that's when I went wild. So this culture just seems like so sex obsessed, you know? And that's not a good thing, because we shouldn't view sex as like just something that is about pleasure, because it's not. It's about, like, of course it's pleasurable, but at the other side of that, it's also like about your sex organs and how they, like, you know, are used by God or nature or the universe. Like, it's every species understands this. It's used to create life. Every other species understands this, and they, you know, like, they just kind of like go with the flow of it all. And you can't stop life from happening. So I wrote something about this. Hold on one second. Bring back the sacredness of sex. I remember I read somewhere once, I think that it was an online Islamic forum or something, that when two souls have sex, for that moment they are physically merged, literally. When you think about it like that, you'd want to take the act more seriously. And I know that might sound subpar or like kind of boring or lame or whatever if you're into hookup culture and stuff, but like, think about it. When you when you enter, like, when you have sex, sorry, I'm so mature. When you have sex with another human being, their part of their body is merging with you. And the only time other than sex that happens is pregnancy. So it is like, I think I've talked about spiritual sex before on my channel, but I'm not sure if I have. Some religions, some philosophies call this tantra sex or spiritual sex, and typically it lasts like 10 minutes or something, 9 minutes, I think. So when you bring back the sacredness of sex, you'd want to do it with someone that you are in love with, you know, that you are, you find a spiritual connection with, and that you want to, like, spend the rest of your life with. So there's one thing. When we bring back, or when we strive to bring back the sacredness of sex and reject this messy culture of, like, hookups and casual sex, and I've been there. Okay, I've been there. Like, personally, it doesn't feel like the crazy thing is that because I've never been in a solid relationship with a man before, I've never had sex with someone that I was in love with. And now, this year I'm going on to 30 years old. It really hits me that I've never, you know, had that experience. So I don't know what it's like. And I think that that's what a lot of the kids, especially the fatherless men and women of today, feel. So, I mean, it's not a fulfilling feeling when you're, like, growing older and then you realize that, like, I mean, maybe for some people, they just don't care. You know, they don't care about stuff like that. They don't want to get married. They don't want to have children, and that's fine. But that leads me to the second point about why we should reject hookup culture, because it's gonna make people uncomfortable enough to be forced to have discipline. I haven't had sex in over a year. Maybe it's been 2 years. I can't even remember because I've been working so hard that I don't even keep track of how long I've had. I think it's going on to 2 years actually in October because I had some of that birthday. Okay, I'm sorry. TMI. So, so discipline. I do this. I've talked about this on my channel before. Every couple of years, I do a practice where I abstain from sex completely. I abstain from not just like literal sex and stuff, but I also don't even like try to chase a man or, try to get into any fling or, I won't even like kiss a guy for that matter. And I do this every couple of years, usually lasts for like 3 years before I get bored and I just need but I think it's different now because like, I think that society needs to practice more discipline. Society needs to understand the other side to what sex is and what it does and what it's designed to do. It's designed to create babies. Unless you're like not in a heterosexual relationship. At least, use protection. Use condoms. Like I've never like in my entire sexual experience, I think I've only had like one pregnancy scare in my entire life. And that's because like I've been like responsible ever since that pregnancy scare because it scared the shit out of me. I didn't want to get pregnant, especially like when I was that young. So, and like even if your partner tries to pressure you to not wear a condom or whatever, don't let them. You can say no. You have to have more discipline. And I've had that happen before, like, so yeah, more discipline, sacredness of sex, sacredness of motherhood. But here is the spiritual aspect. Okay, you ready? The real spiritual aspect of it. I think that this being Roe v. Wade and the implications of the shift that it has on consciousness and stuff and society and culture, it actually like is leading us more closer to God. And I know that might sound strange, but I've been reading the Bible before the fall, after the fall, as God intended, before and then after the fall, after man fell into sin because of that first chapter in the Bible. I've been really pondering about that. And I've been thinking about like how it intertwines with a time like this. Because so much crazy shit has happened in the last 2 years. Like, we've really, like, in my perspective, we've really seen the evil. Like, we've really seen the corruption in our society, our politics, and, like, kind of, like, the immorality of our culture, and that when we're kind of declining. The world is kind of, like, declining. The world doesn't feel as, like, good right now. And that's for a number of reasons, not just because, like, of the absence of God or whatever, or godliness, or, like, a Holy Spirit, whatever you want to define that as. It's more than that. It's just, like the slippery slope being real is very, like, it's evident. It's like, I saw a clip and I saw bills being passed in California of, like, they're basically literally murdering babies now. Like, I'm talking, like, a bill was passed in California saying that, that you can actually, kill the baby after it comes out. So, or at 9 months, or in the third trimester, you know? And that kind of like freaked me the fuck out. Cause like, how could that be something that people actually want? It's basically literally murder at that point. It's not even like a fetus, or it's not even early term abortion. It's literally like come out of the woman's vagina, and they have passed a bill, and it has passed. It's like legalized now, apparently. I haven't followed it up, so that's literally murder, because it's not just like a clump of cells anymore. It's not just like a fetus that isn't sentient. So I really want to emphasize that. Like, now we're gonna allow baby murder, literal baby murder, third trimester abortions. That's not just like a clump of cells anymore. It's an actual baby, and you can see it in the ultrasound. And I can like, I think that we as a society, we as like nations, like America as a nation needs to come together and have a real discussion about when a baby isn't just like a clump of cells anymore, you know? We need to have an honest discussion about it. So that's my thoughts. And the reason why I think that this Roe v. Wade being overturned, and then maybe the abortion rights are going to be taken away in half of the states of the U.S., it's a good thing in the bigger picture of things, because of all of the reasons I just mentioned, plus another thing that I've been thinking about. Being pro-life for human babies is a pathway to abundance. And being vegan, which is the lover and protector of all sentient life, not just human life, but all animals, it's a pathway to divinity. So, being both at once is letting God in. Whatever you want to define as God, you know, goodness, holiness, the Christian version of God, the Hindu version of God, the Islamic version of God, whatever you want to like call it. And you might not believe in like the Bible, but do you believe in karma at least? Do you believe in do unto others as you would want done unto you? And like, if you really analyze the US, it has been going downhill for decades. And it's not just because of the way that we treat animals and stuff, but it's also the way that we treat human life. And I agree that we need to, like, if we really want to push pro-life and stuff, the US needs to get right. And the US needs to, like, build up more support for women. They need to build up more infrastructure to support mothers and stuff. That's what they need to do. And I think that, like, obviously, the US has the resources to do all of that stuff. It's the fucking US, you know? So, overall, I think that this is, it's a good thing for a number of reasons. And please reflect on everything that I'm saying in this video. I understand that this is a controversial topic, but I always, even if I was pro-choice and stuff, my thing is I always look at the bright side of things, or I always try to find the bright side to everything. And this has a lot of bright sides if you just look, you know? It's gonna force a lot of people to just rethink everything. And sometimes that's what people need. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Just like the vaccine mandates weren't necessarily a bad thing. It's not time to play victim right now. It's time to reevaluate our lifestyles. It's time to rethink everything that we've been taught. It's time to rethink what this culture is, and is it really as good? And we need to go and look at the other side, the people that we hate, the people that we don't want to associate with, the Christians, the Republicans, the conservatives that you think are destroying your life. Go look at their arguments. Go listen to what they say. At least give it a try. Open your mind. That's all that I wanted to leave it off with. You might be surprised, It's better to come together right now because they're trying so hard and they're succeeding in dividing people, and it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well because it's going to end in violence. The radical things that came out of the mouth or the keyboards, sorry, of pro-choicers when this thing was overturned, it freaked me the fuck out. My brain felt like it was about to break. Getting on the internet and seeing all the riots, seeing all the protests, listening to all the people chant and the ridiculous things that they were doing and the scary things that they were saying. This stuff it's like they were literally saying, burn the city to the ground. If you don't understand why that's wrong, you can't burn the city to the ground when, the state or the federal law goes against you. And by the way, where the fuck were you guys? Why weren't you saying burn the city to the ground when there were medical mandates happening? When people were being force injected or forced by Big Pharma to take a product, and if they didn't, then they had to be second-class citizens. Where the fuck were you guys when that was happening? I get passionate about this part because, I was affected by something like that. So I understand the frustration of, the U.S. people. Because they were too, and they still are. In the U.S. right now, they have less rights than in Australia. In the U.S., people still cannot get on a plane or something unless they take a test or something. And that is medical tyranny. That's medical tyranny. So where the fuck were you guys when that was happening and it's still happening? Where the fuck were you guys when workers at a business, at a restaurant, at a store are still being force masked? Is it only about you and what makes you comfortable? Or do you really mean what you say when you say my body, my choice? So hypocrisy there. Anyways, I gotta get back to work. I've already missed out. Oh my god, this morning has been a disaster. I go and I look at the software updates that just a mini rant. Software updates. And I haven't updated my phone in over 3 years. So I needed to update 3 years worth of software updates. And that's crazy. And that my morning of work was replaced by that. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me your comments, subscribe, and have a lovely day or night. Bye guys.